If you're a man, you don't cry about it. You take life, the ups and downs. If you're a real man, you never go down, you just stay up. That's why this sport coat costs $800 and that costs $200. And I don't know what that costs, I'd be ashamed to wear it. That's why I'm wearing lizard shoes and a Rolex watch.
Importing it, snorting it, any competition extorting it, anything I want affording it, got enough crack to get four to hit, turn a saint to a sinner, lose to a winner, whether old school or upbeat, getting my shit's the best, Rick's the best, have your heart beating right out your chest, that Ric Flair like, woo! That Ric Flair like, woo! This is all I do, I got that Ric Flair like, woo! Woo! Styling, profiling, that Ricky make a girl go, woo! Big cause.
It's got the red thing on. So I think it's good.
Yeah, and we got a little record button. Oh, by the way, I don't know if I told you, but the last podcast I did without you, the audio didn't work.
So it's no good?
No, actually, so the new camera that we're using right now, shout out to the camera over there, the audio is a little better. The only problem I foresee, I haven't listened to the whole thing yet, but when we recorded the podcast, we were doing the podcast, and then somewhere towards the end, some of the audience for the open mic showed up, and it was like 4 women, and they just wouldn't shut up.
Oh, okay.
Right?
So you could hear them more. They're more audible.
I can't see how it wouldn't be possible that they're not very audible. Not more, but very audible. But at the time, I was like, well, we're speaking into microphones.
Yeah.
They're not going to be picked up, so I didn't tell them to shut up. But now I couldn't hate them more.
And this is like near the end, so. But again, like
most of it should be fine.
But the audio, for the most part of the whole podcast, was just fucked up. It was off. It wasn't working.
I still don't know what. Like usually, I know what happened. I'm like, the battery died, something like that. I just walked to the back of the room, and it had recorded 4 minutes, and then just stopped. So, and I doubt that 4 minutes I technically started. You know how like I press record and then I walk away. I could hear Mitchell talking, and I mean that you just have to throw away.
I was gonna say, like, I heard Mitch was on it, so we could put that in the dump. Oh, Mitch, if you're listening, like the one you released today, you could tell the asshole picture bugs him. And how much we were showing it to everybody.
He's not happy.
He's not, and he's like, "Oh, I don't care. It's fine." I was like, "Shut up."
Your Mitchell impression's getting better.
I'm trying to copy you.
Yeah, once you realize there's a Muppet tinge to it.
Oh, I got a girlfriend. Yeah, and we know. Say it another fucking 1,200 times.
Oh yeah, that we talked about. That's the other thing people have said. He mentions his girlfriend a lot.
Yeah, he likes to remind everybody watching that he's having sex regularly.
You know what? I'm upset at people noticing that now because I noticed it a long time ago and I made a joke about it on the podcast.
Yeah.
And there's very rare moments on the podcast where one of us gets treated like shit. Like, why would you say that? That's just mean, right? I wish I could find the clip. I said something and then, I think Baxter called me out on it. He's like, why can't you just be happy for somebody else?
I half remember that. And I think I jumped on that too. And I was just like, yo, Sanker, come on, man. Our friend's happy. No, but that was just more to like just shit on you for no reason.
Okay. There was reasoning to it. This is the only time we can do love. So we're in. I was gonna say we walked to a park, but we're not in a park. I think this is the community hangout for 3 buildings.
Yeah, it's like a triangle of buildings,
which is
and we're
cool.
right in the middle.
If I lived here, I think this is cool. Like I would have barbecues here.
Right, and this is like the meeting point area. I'm assuming. For like if you have a friend in that building and a friend in the building behind us, this is where you come together to talk about like who are the biggest sluts in
your building.
Exactly. This is the meeting point for sure.
We are recording here because Lee, I think an hour before the podcast, and I'm not saying this to blame you. I'm saying to blame us not being informed. An hour before the podcast. Has the brilliant thought, which is, hey, I heard they've canceled the Monday open mic, and they may have a different show on Mondays, but who knows if that still means we can record there. And I go, that's a good point.
Yeah.
but I have the logic that you live by here anyway, and there's not really much we can do because the manager wasn't answering. So I said, let's just show up anyway and see what happens. Clearly, there's no. It's not open.
It's sealed off. It hasn't been open all weekend. I don't understand like this business maneuver or what they're trying to do, but it's pretty irritating. Will just got back to me not too long ago to say no one's gonna be there.
Is that all he said?
Yeah.
He didn't say like, "Oh, my bad." Like, yeah, we're rejigging things.
I'll tell you exactly what he wrote to me. He goes, and I had messaged him like hours before, and then he goes, oh wait, that's Dimitri. He goes, nobody is gonna be there, and I sent him a message at 2:17, and he replied at 6:04.
All right. To be fair, I was thinking about it on the way here, is that we really, and we've had your friends argue that we bring something to the table, but not much. So, to be fair, if we had a big crowd of people showing up for our podcast every Monday, they probably would have continued.
Yeah, but we never promote the show.
No,
we don't. We're not trying to brand it as like. Although I think that it would be better. I think our style of podcasting works better in front of an audience. But I mean, it's not something that we put a lot of effort into at all.
Yeah. Well, I think in the early days of us doing it at the Royal, we there was also Bankus was going to do a podcast after ours, and he was promoting that as like something you can buy tickets for to go see.
Yeah.
I think at that time I had some hope of like, okay, well, if he's doing that, I know we're just kind of like the child podcast before that no one gives a shit about, but maybe we could catch a wave there and we could start promoting, and I had all these ideas. And then the second that ended and they're like, you can do it before the open mic, but you got to do the sound. I went, well, there goes my self-esteem, but also my will to give an effort. Yeah.
And I remember too, like, Ben stopped it because like nobody was showing up for his podcast.
Yeah.
So you look at that and you go, if Ben's not getting an audience, who the fuck are we to? Like, we're definitely not getting an audience. We're gonna have to just do what Kavork did and just lie. Be like, oh, it's the #1 podcast in like.
I mean, we have had
comedy.
We've had Kevin Hart on this podcast before.
Oh yeah,
it's not one of our biggest episodes.
Right, and
the Brovo episode's still bigger.
It's still the bigger one. We did a crossover pod with Joe Rogan.
Yeah, that didn't like get as many hits as Joe was hoping, but he's not the same name. He doesn't ring as big as he used to.
So I went to Liam's funeral recently.
Oh yeah, we should talk about that. So, what I will say as an intro to that, yes, Liam Duggan.
I guess it looks like it's spelled Dwignan, but it's like Duggan. Like it's pronounced Duggan.
Yeah.
It's got to be some like Celtic,
as
Irishy way of pronunciation.
I was introduced to him by somebody else as Duggan, but when I heard his name pronounced differently, I thought that's probably just one of those things where he didn't correct that person at that time, but that was incorrect.
Oh, so like he just left it?
He just left it. He's like, who cares? He's going to call me Liam anyway. But yes, unfortunately, Liam passed away.
Yeah.
And you went to his funeral.
Yeah.
It
was hilarious. Like, dude, it was sad. But you're in a car full of comics, and you show up, and there's other comedians, it just turned into kind of like a roast of Liam, and it was just kind of like the funniest thing about it was the priest that was doing the ceremony, whatever you call the funeral, was an Indian guy. But it wasn't just an Indian guy. Like, it was like a guy from India. So he had the fucking accent. No, not a bit. Like he kept fucking up his name. Liam Duggan. It was like, and we're like, Liam is rolling around in his casket right now because these are the types of people he targeted specifically in his life. He like almost practically hate crime a few of them. But like, I'm like, this is so perfect to have like a guy like this in Peterborough, by the way, which is like I think mostly known for just white people.
Yeah, for the most part.
And this is like an Irish funeral type of thing. And of all the people that they got to conduct his funeral, was a hardcore Indian guy.
He's a hardcore. That's such a weird term.
That's the name of the episode. Hardcore Indian guy.
Indian guy. Yeah, well, I was in Nosotalo, and I was like, oh, there's some hardcore Hispanics here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean by that.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, and then he would be singing, like, you know, a priest sing almost like the Hallelujah.
Yeah.
But he'd be a singer, and it was very like Bollywoodish almost. And I remember at one point Armin was in front of me in the row, and he just looked back at me with that face of like, how are we not all laughing?
Yeah.
And I remember it was all very upsetting, like what was happening. But I remember, he later on called me out, and he says, I looked over at Lee, and he was, pretending to be sad. Because it came across that I wanted to laugh, but I was like, no, I can't. I fucking can't.
Yeah, but really, your real truth is that it was Armin that almost made you laugh.
Well, because I could see it in his eyes, dude.
Yeah.
How is this not hilarious right now? But I got to meet his family.
How does that family feel about you guys? You feel?
They were nice. The sister, I messaged her on Instagram just to give condolences.
She's hot.
She seems like a nice person.
Oh yeah.
But a bunch of us messaged her to.
That's nice.
And met her at the funeral just very briefly. She. I should read it now because she wanted the comics that showed up to hear something, and I think I sent it to the wrong group chat. So I'm just going to read it right now for everybody, all you comics out there that
I have a joke, but I don't want to blame it just in case she's funny. I don't want to ruin it.
All right, she goes, hey, just wanted to thank you and all Liam's Toronto friends for coming out and sharing that time with us this week. I know it's a trek, and I know it meant the world to me and my parents. I felt badly I didn't get to the opportunity to sit at your table and learn more about you all. So please share my gratitude with the group. I was just not in my normal social state. Thanks again.
Oh, okay. That was nice.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say, she wrote, hey, we all hated you, and we blame you for
She wrote that after the nudes. She said, fucking around. No, she's a very nice person.
Yeah.
The father and the mom, it's so funny, when you meet kind of your friend's family, and you could see them in them, and you go why is that weird? Why is it kind of it's a no shit type of thing,
yeah.
but you almost go oh, there's Liam. You could see it in them. I don't know why that always not creeps me out, but
it's a weird thing.
Weirds me out.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
No, it's definitely a weird thing. If you know someone who passes away, and then you can see it in their family, their faces, their thing. Yeah. Even what's weird is sometimes you catch the way they move their hand around or something, some weird body movement that matches the person who passed away. Yeah,
for me, with my dad, for example, I match exactly the way he drinks, which is a lot. Oh, that's Oscar's son. I see the resemblance.
He also liked Pops Azul ribbon.
Pops Azul. Fuck it. That's a great name for a beer. But it's like Pops. Like you call that Pops Azul. Pops Azul. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, that's nice. I'm not surprised his family's nice, though, because what's weird is I remember on one of our podcasts, Mitchell described, the difference between, I don't know how it came up, but the difference between Baxter and Liam was...
There's almost a small child that knocked over a camera on her bike.
I'm watching her. She's so close.
If that would have happened, you would have seen me get arrested for smashing that child's bike.
Is that the difference between them is Baxter can be insulting or mean or whatever, but he generally has a good heart and will talk to you after or whatever, or just like he has these sentimental moments outside of ball busting or whatever.
Yeah.
And then he said Liam doesn't have that at all. But when I met Liam, he was pretty nice. He was just like, "Hey, how's it going, man?" or whatever. Like he was cool.
I think Liam is obviously a little bit less sensitive than, let's say, Baxter, but from what I've come to sort of notice or witness is that at times when Liam was kind of like, it would seem at a low point, is like when he would start to show a little bit of humanity. I remember through text, he actually complimented this podcast.
Oh, yeah.
He goes like, it's gotten him through, rough times or whatever in Calgary. Like he made a mention that he enjoys it.
It was good enough to get him through rough times in Calgary, but not Peter. Where was he? No, he was still in Calgary at the end.
Yeah, exactly. His family's from Peterborough.
Right.
But he was like, he would listen to it regularly.
Yeah.
He liked listening to it. And, he was very complimentary about it. And he would always encourage me to keep doing drugs. And, and to tell you that you sucked. But I mean, like, that was Liam. But you could always, he obviously had a fucking heart. But it just took a little bit more digging, a little bit more rough time to get through to it. Overall, Liam just, I don't know, he had like maybe like a philosophy in life and how a man should conduct himself, and how a guy who's like, in his core, was probably a very patriotic Canadian guy and just didn't like, in his mind, how he saw the country changing to this thing that is almost unrecognizable. It's woke. It's pro-China. It's all this shit. And he was very much against that.
Against it.
So if you vocalize shit like, if you go against the narrative, there's always like a lot of people that are so willing to villainize you, and I think Liam just didn't care about that label.
About being villain.
Being portrayed as like a bad guy. He just didn't care. So he was just like, all right, if that's what it is, then fuck it. And I'm sorry, but you do have to respect something like that. A lot of people would try to move away from looking like an asshole, move away from looking like a bad person, but Liam just didn't. If he believed in it, he would just be exactly what you hated, because I think he was trying to make a point with sort of standing your ground as far as like, man, if you believe in something and nobody else does, be a fucking asshole cocksucker to the fullest degree. Yeah, fuck everybody else like who doesn't see it your way.
Yeah.
Because everyone else that thinks that they're right and that they're like holier than that, they're all gonna like. Try to portray themselves as better people than what they actually are, when really these people are just very intolerant, and they have their own agenda. They have their own fucking made-up mindset, and they're going to try to paint anybody who's not on their side as like a bigot or a racist or an evil bad person. And, like, if there's anything to learn from Liam's time here, is just like, yeah, like you should have that fucking attitude to fuck everybody who tries to make you seem that way. Don't let them fucking make you look like an asshole. Just be the asshole yourself. Yeah.
Take the asshole into your own power.
Yeah, just take it into your own hands and be like, here it is. Spread it out like Mitchell Elvis did. Fucking Mitch. Like,
he's still mad about it.
He's mad. He's fucking pissed about it, and it's like ridiculous. Like, dude, you threw your asshole out there to like a guy like Josh Infeld.
Yeah, it doesn't make
is going to send
sense.
that picture out.
It doesn't make any sense. If you follow the story and you're mad that it's out there, it's like there's a million other people
and that's
before
not
Josh.
like to say Josh is like a bad person.
No.
Because you know why I like to show it? And you know like why I think everyone likes to show it? Not because I'm like, I hate Mitch or fuck Mitch or I'm trying to get Mitch. But it's funny.
It's funny.
It's so disgusting. It's so fucking...
It's so disgusting.
It makes me laugh. At the reaction that people get out of it. And I think Mitch tried to paint it as like we're all like trying to piss him off or something. No, it's just a funny picture. If I put my asshole out there and I sent you a picture of my asshole sanker and you shared it with everybody, how dare I get mad? Or how dare I get...
I'm not going to lie, though. I'm different. It's not that I would regret not sharing it later. But in the moment, if you sent me a picture of your asshole, I'd probably just smash my phone in annoyance. And then later I'd be like, I should have sent it to people and then
send it to every female comic. Send it to everyone. Just be like, look at Lee's nasty asshole.
I do want to defend. Yeah, it's not Josh specifically, as Josh is just one evil being that, oh, you sent it to him. He's not. No, it's just that Josh, just like you, they're part of a group that speaks online to each other. Not online, whatever you call it. WhatsApp or whatever it is, right? Speaks consistently. And it's part of a group where we try to make each other laugh or whatever. So forget Josh. He sent it to someone who is part of a circle of friends, and that's always a mistake. If there's a strong circle of friends,
that circle is getting it. Yeah.
That's the whole circle's getting it. Yeah. And then all you need is one person who has a different circle
to put it to that circle. Yeah, so it's just like circulating around different circles. Yeah. Basically. And we all have to stare at fucking Mitch's dirty brown circle. Dude, that is such a funny picture.
But the fact that it's so funny. It's so funny because it's so gross. I had to, when we released the Ethan episode, I had to look for a part at the end that he wanted edited out, but because of that, I was at the end and I'm tracking through looking for that part, right? Yeah. And I saw a slow motion version of Ethan's reaction when he saw it. It's so funny. Like honestly, we should just post that. You see him go like this.
Yeah, and what was impressive is that he looked at it for that little amount of time, and it already was recorded in his head exactly what was fucked up about it, that it was moist, that the shit stain looked like it went like beyond like the gooch and shit. He narrowed it like...
I just remember he just goes, it's so moist, or it's so wet. Like,
and Mitchell goes... I just took a shower, and nobody believed him.
That's not. The more time... I remember at the time, I was just like that kind of... I was grossed out, so my brain wasn't firing on all cylinders to like be an investigative journalist. But I remember later... Ben Albert, I think, was the one who said it to me. He goes, no, I mean, it's clear that is someone was licking it or something like that, right? And then I thought about it. I'm like, yeah, the shower thing makes no sense.
No.
It makes no sense because it wasn't. It was a more viscous, oily than water. If that makes sense.
So you think like his girl ate his ass like right before?
That's Ben Albert's theory. Yeah. I think that's a very good possibility. It's either that or he has a terrible sickness.
I don't know. Like I think by knowing a little bit of Mitchell's girlfriend, she strikes me just like...
I think she would.
She strikes me as an ass eater.
Yeah.
I think she would eat ass.
That's why I absolutely.
Yeah. She's like a little blonde chick.
And he strikes me as someone who would like it. And that's not even a negative. He just...
Dude, they're in love. I will tell you, man, that's one thing that I don't know what it would take for me to like get like either comfortable enough or confident enough or even interested enough to get my ass eaten. Because you hear guys talk about like how, oh yeah, fucking I had this girl eat my ass. I can't even imagine even wanting that. I'm like, that just seems so like, I feel like I giggle. As soon as my cheeks get spread, I just picture going, like, it's just like a little bitch. I don't think I'd like it.
I think it must be like one of those things that it's something that seems gross.
Yeah.
But if you tried it, you might like it, and then it's like there's
like gay sex. It seems gross, but it's probably like fantastic.
No, but I mean like when they're like, oh, I know it seems messed up, but if you eat chicken hearts, they actually taste good or whatever.
Yeah.
And then after you try it, you're like, oh, like I'll never be able to tell someone I don't like chicken hearts because obviously I do. I feel like
chicken hearts are pretty good. They are, but like on paper, delicious. You think like, ew. Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're really good. But I feel like it's one of those things that's where it's like, I look at any of that stuff and I'm like, logically, it must feel good because there's enough people who say it does.
Yeah.
So I don't think you or I would be any different that if we tried it, I think we would say this feels good. I think mentally, it's just like you can't enjoy it. It's just like if someone cooked up bull testicles, like amazing. Amazing and
with the right seasoning,
barbecue sauce. Like, how is it going to not taste good?
Oh, but like mentally, bull dick soup. It's probably amazing.
Probably amazing. But how are your head is not going to be able to enjoy it because you know what it is.
Have you ever eaten ass before?
No.
I've only done it once.
Yeah, and what? Oh, well, that's different. That's eating it, so I can't say you enjoyed it.
It's not my thing. I was just drunk. It was an ex. I ate ass once.
Could you tell a different taste than?
No, I couldn't.
The front?
Well, it almost felt like the ass had
you were
no
drunk.
flavor.
Yeah. No.
From my vague memory of it.
Yeah.
It's almost like I didn't taste
unseasoned
anything.
chicken breast.
Yes. That's why I didn't like it. I was hoping for shit. I was disappointed. I sent it back to the kitchen.
Yeah, I just don't understand why he's upset about it, because I could understand him sitting at home being upset at himself.
That's what it is.
Thinking, but you can't get upset at other people for you sent it to somebody else.
Yeah.
You can only have yourself to blame now.
Right. So I mean, like, that's what annoyed me, because I remember like the Ethan episode.
Yeah.
He was like kind of like fun about it.
Yeah.
And then the Eric episode,
when it got mentioned again,
he was like, he seemed like really, really bothered by it.
Yeah, maybe because that, if you think about it, timeline-wise, you have to pay attention to, like, that's a week later.
Yeah.
So a week before, he had been hearing about it for a week, right? Like he had sent it out, like a week or 2 weeks before that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then time passes. That's a week later. It's days of your friends bothering you about it. 7 days
Have
of your
gone
friends
by already. Yeah.
yeah. So now that it's hardened into even more diamond of evil. So he's annoyed about it.
But just think about the crew of dudes that got a hold of it.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you expect?
Yeah.
Like sincerely, like, what do you actually expect? We're never gonna get bored of it. Like, it's always gonna be part of our humor. I don't know. It's like, if anybody told me, like, do you want to look at Mitchell's ass? No. But now that I have, it's like a curse that you need to like start like passing along to other people. Because I don't want to be cursed alone.
It's what's that movie? The Ring.
The Brown Ring.
The Ring.
It's the Brown Ring.
It's buttholes. You have to show it to somebody else.
You have to,
or else they're gonna die.
Exactly.
Yeah. I do think there's comics in the city that if those were his friends and he had sent it to one person, it would have gone nowhere.
Oh, it feels like the woke comics, it would have gone nowhere. Whoever received it would just be jerking off to it.
Yeah.
Like that's that circle of like weirdos.
I don't believe anyone is.
But everybody in our circle will share the shit out of that.
Yeah.
Even the strangers who aren't even in comedy.
I'd understand if he was mad if he had sent it to his doctor to be like, hey, I think something's wrong. And the doctor's like, oh, this is hilarious. I'm going to look up his contacts on Facebook.
And send it to all his friends and family. Right.
No, I'd understand being mad about that. But you send it to people that, to be fair, I wouldn't be surprised if a week before Mitchell had made fun of Josh. Not because they have that. I mean, meaning that they're friends. You could picture a week before he's like, oh, Josh, you're so stupid because of this or whatever. Mm-hmm. And to think you could send it to a person that you on any other day might have made fun of. Yeah. And thought, this will go nowhere. We'll just laugh as amongst friends.
Oh, speaking of Josh, are you part of that group chat we're in right now for the bachelor party?
Yes, I am.
Oh, dude.
I will be there. Yeah. I'll let you go with it. I will be there. I'll be there very late because I forgot we have family flying in from Guyana.
Okay.
And it's my aunt's 65th birthday. I have a whole family thing. So I'll be there, but like last minute, and I'm going to have to chug drinks quick to catch up.
I think there's gonna be it's gonna be like a big part the Joey's or whatever. Like there's
they're going to Joey's. I'm gonna miss that, but the like bar stuff after
the strippers and all that shit.
Yeah, I'll be there.
That's gonna be fun.
I'll at least make it for the last hour. I promise that.
July is a big month in our circle of comedy. The funeral, the fucking wedding. This is gonna be crazy.
Yeah, you know what? If we could convince someone to knock up a girl, we could have the whole circle of life.
It's got to be Baxter.
Oh.
Baxter has to knock up a stripper.
Yeah, I mean, if he's falling in love within 2 weeks, he's got to have a kid with
But he wants baddies. You know, remember that episode?
He doesn't want baddies.
He doesn't fall in love with a baddie.
He wants to fall in love with a baddie.
And he wants that baddie to love him.
Yeah.
Oh, for the rec, our good our third Mike, another one of the hosts for the podcast, is taking time off from comedy and podcasting to work on himself.
Work on his life.
Yeah, and for real, I hope it works out this time. I love the guy, but like
wow.
I love him.
You could.
Jesus Christ! Is it like
you couldn't possibly have less faith with him?
I don't
have. We replayed that right now. You go. I mean, I wish the best, but I mean, I love the guy.
I really. It's like having a kid. I think like where that like your kid keeps
getting C's and D's, and you're like,
he's gonna get an A.
Yeah,
and he's gonna stick with the A. And he's gonna get he's gonna go to university. And he's gonna. Like, you hope for the best. I really do.
But your kid's dumb.
I love Baxter, and honestly, I want nothing to do with any more of his relapses. I don't want to be a bad influence on him. I want to just support this fucking guy to just get better because he's one of those assholes that if he died, I would be so upset because of the potential that his funniness has. That would bug me. I'd be like, it went to waste. So I want nothing to do with him relapsing. I want nothing to do with anything negative. I just, I do love the guy, and I just want the fucking goddamn best from him at this point.
And you know what? You got to give him respect. It's not like everyone can get annoyed or whatever. It's not.
Sure.
It's not easy because, and I've heard like U.S. comics talk about this when I've been a fanboy or whatever. But it's your dream. And hopefully your job one day or whatever to show up at bars almost every night and, yes, tell jokes. So that's your real job. But still, you're at bars. Whereas most other sober people get to go, you know what? I'm just not going to go inside a bar for a year. Maybe more. Maybe never go inside one ever again. Maybe at worst a Jack Astor's for lunch, right? But at nighttime, you're not going to be sitting in a bar. You're going to go to like a coffee shop or something like that. If he wants to do comedy, he can't do that. It's not feasible because he has to do comedy. So he has to be inside a bar where people are ordering drinks.
Yeah, and he's watching people drink.
Yeah,
and part of like the appeal of drinking.
He's watching people. What people? Us.
Yeah. But you're also like watching people have fun.
Yeah,
and I think a big part of like the temptation of it is to have fun. It's just like you see people drinking and socializing and getting a little crazy, and you're like, "Fuck, I wish I could do that." And it's not. What's like weird about it is like how people get so like unraveled in like bad things if once they start like drinking. You start drinking, next thing you know, you want to start smoking crack. Next thing you know, you want to start shooting up. Next thing you know, you want to start fucking with prostitutes. It's like, how does it just escalate?
I think
because to me, I'm like, I get really drunk, and I usually just want to smoke a joint and go to bed.
Yeah.
There's some people like Baxter that will start doing one thing,
all in on
and
everything.
It's all in on everything, and that's the dangerous part. So I think like the brotherly love that people have shown him, and the restrictions, or sort of like the hardship that they put on him, like, oh, we're gonna ban you from this stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, is because they recognize that he's that type of substance user. He's the guy that, like it's all like once he gets one thing, it's all. So that's like concerning.
Yeah.
Well, the guys where they're alcoholics and like they'll drink till oblivion.
Yeah.
But it's like they're guys that once you do this, now you gotta do that. Now you gotta do that. And before you know it, you haven't slept for 4 days, and you have no money left, and you're hallucinating things.
Oh yeah.
And you want to probably do something that might actually fucking hurt you really badly. So I don't know, like that's where the concern I think comes from. I didn't really fully figure it out at first. I had suspicions that it was like that, but then I was just like, it is like that. And I think that's why it's so dangerous.
Yeah, I remember when he relapsed, I got a little annoyed. Just to see some people were like, "Oh, man, Baxter, you're so much fun when you drink or whatever." Like they were saying stuff, and I was like, "Don't." this man has told you a million times that he doesn't want to drink again. Now that he's doing it again, you're like, I always knew you were wrong. Like I was thinking, but now the more time passes, I'm like, look, I get it. It's like it's hard to really think in your head how serious someone's issue is, because I still know to this day, you know who gets a lot of shit online, whether they know about it or they pay attention or not, about getting sober, is 2 comics, but one specifically is Jim Norton. Mm-hmm. And he gets a lot of shit because he got sober at like 16 or 17 or something like that.
Which you would almost think doesn't count.
Well, that's
you know what I mean?
That's the talk online, is that, come on, you weren't an alcoholic. You went through some bad teen years, and now 30 years later, you're still like, well, you gotta be part of the program. I've been sober for 35. But it's like he swears by it, and I kind of believe him now because I see.
So you think if like Jim Norton had a beer, it would unravel everything? I don't think so, because I go like the bad teen years of getting overly drunk and doing fucked up things. You could chalk it up to you were a young man drinking.
Yeah.
You didn't have a substance dependency.
Right.
It's more like you fucked up you did some fucking like gnarly things while you were drunk as a teenage boy, but like real alcoholism is only really treated seriously after like years of it. In your adulthood, you lost a job, you lost your wife, you lost opportunities. You fucking it has to like really sink into a darker place than like, oh, like as a teenage boy, like I probably like got arrested or kicked out of a shopping mall. You know what I mean? It's not treated seriously.
The only problem with it is that, and I think if you ask the like sober people, they take it serious because they're like, well, for all we know, he's right, and his life would have gone down the drain.
No, so sure. Like if you had to continue with that, there's that argument to be made. But I think the online people are like
they're
right.
Kind of right.
They're right into like.
I actually agree.
They're okay with going.
Know.
No, you don't. But I mean, like that's like me like fucking around with booze and drugs and stopping at 16. And then telling all you guys, I got sober when I was 16. It's like, fuck you, Lee. Like, it's just like, no. Like, you're not that special.
Commiserating with other guys who had a problem.
Real problems.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, when
Imagine Izzy, like, decides to be so, and then goes up to Baxter being all like, well, I got sober. Like, with his old D-time famous voice.
I forgot to tell you, my brother was mad at me for saying that on the podcast because he said it ruined the rest of the podcast.
Because he changed his voice?
No, because every time he would hear it, it annoyed him, but he said it didn't annoy him until that moment. Yeah.
And then it was all very, I guess I fucked her ass. Like, shut up, Izzy.
Can you take that out?
Yeah. Oh. That was disappointing. It's always disappointing to hear, like, guys, like, will be on the podcast and say things and be like, oh, remove that. It's like, I've done it, though. And
that's
and it annoyed me, and I annoy myself.
That's kind of why I decided to, I kind of decided in my head, I'm like, look, if someone legitimately asks, like, I'd really like for you to take that out, I'm cool with it. I'll do it. I'll do it every time. I've decided that. I'll do it. Right? Yeah. But I'll judge you in that, like nobody asked you. Okay, I might have asked him to say those names, but you don't, like, nobody asked you to tell the truth. Like,
exactly. I mean, you're being recorded. You're recorded in 2 aspects: film and audio.
And there's an audience of people right in front of you.
People listening. Yeah. And also our podcast, like, let's say if we even get 100 consistent listeners.
Yeah.
How is that going to get back to your family, or how's that like? We're nobodies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
exactly.
it's not even a big deal.
Like, and if anything, I need that tester out there to find out if it gets back to your family, then I know we're growing.
We're doing something.
So we need to leave that out there to find out.
But we do have to, like, anybody that we do have on, there has to be a disclaimer provided to them to say, like, listen, we're putting this out there.
Yeah. So
if you decide to be on our podcast, just know that we're not editing anything out. We're not, and even if we get booted off Spotify, we're gonna find another way to release.
Well, yeah.
This.
Besides, the only thing I'll always edit out is nudity, only. Not because I care, but only because it will get it taken down, and then there's no like.
I'll be honest with what we're doing. If we don't get taken down, we're not doing it right.
Oh yeah.
I'm like,
well, we
think
don't.
about what we do.
No one cares. That's the problem.
Right, but as soon as like, I would love where we go like, we're completely banned from Spotify because of Mitchell's asshole. Like I would love.
So
it'd be annoying for a bit, but I'd be like, you know what? I know we're doing something right because of what our brand is. In my mind, supposed to be. I'm like,
it didn't have to be blurred.
Yeah.
Because like I blurred it anyway just to be sure, but it like your phone it didn't pick up right because it's like
it naturally blurred.
Yeah, well no, it's just too. You don't realize that a phone screen for like a camera.
Yeah,
it always looks weird. It was like more. It looked more like a Men in Black flash. Like it was too weird. But I blurred it anyway.
You know, like how I knew Mitch had a problem with this whole asshole picture thing is number one. He said like something like along the lines of, and the people that I like keep showing it aren't like my real friends. And when my girlfriend, you know what she said about those guys? That they're all fags. Like this is how you know
my mommy
bugs
said.
you. Yeah, my mommy said.
My mommy
whoever shows
said
my
you guys are
asshole
jerks.
is fucking gay.
Yeah, that's really funny.
That's
and
how
you know
I
what's
knew.
funny?
Like,
I know who he's talking about, and
Yeah.
I've realized that he doesn't like that person.
Armin.
Yeah. Okay, I don't want to say, just in case Armin, maybe Mitchell likes you. But, like, I don't know. I have a sneaking suspicion.
Yeah. I mean, he complained about me. He complained about Armin. He complained about Ben Bank. It's like,
oh, so you're not his real friend.
well, because on the episode, I was like saying like, oh yeah, I show it to everybody. And he's like, anybody who does that is not my real friend. Like, all right, Mitch, we're not real friends.
But I get what he means. It's not meaning I know. Okay, I got to take that back. So maybe Armin is his friend, but maybe he means that statement like if you were to do this, that means you're not my real friend. Is that what he means?
At the Ben Bankus rally, Armin showed me his asshole like 4 or 5 times, but sneakily like, oh, like this girl sent me a message. Look at that, and he would show me this phone. And
that's funny.
His
That's kind of funny. That's funny.
He just keeps showing me his ass.
Because that's like that thing, like those YouTube videos that it's a quiet moment and then there's a scary thing that pops out.
Yeah. That's exactly what he was doing.
That's actually funny. That is funny.
Yeah.
Well, look, I promise that if it's sent to me, I'm not going to show it to anybody.
That'll be private.
If you guys want to maintain,
keep it for yourself.
I'll say this: if you guys want to maintain a friendship with him, it seems like it bothers him. I would stop showing it. Having that said, if you think it's more worth it to show it and laugh than think, that's also something he's got to get used to.
I don't know, but since like I haven't been showing it around. What's
no,
funny
I'm not saying
it
you
is-
have. I'm saying it seems like it's important to him that he's going to start looking at people who keep showing it differently.
Well, to me, I'm like, whenever something like that comes out, you are not in charge of like the length of time that goes by.
This guy's crip walking.
Fuck it. Oh, he looks cool.
Yeah.
I wish the audience at home could see it, but I'm just like, if I show my asshole and it starts to circulate,
Yeah.
to me, I'm like, okay, there's going to be a certain amount of time, an undetermined amount of time, that this is going to be a thing. At some point, this is going to stop.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that's in a week, 2 weeks, a month, a year. At some point, this is going to just stop. You getting upset about it and you trying to put it out there like, I'm not mad, but clearly you're mad, is only going to prolong this shit. So it's almost like the Hunter Biden laptop. You kind of just hope it just goes away in time. People just start focusing on other things. This is all a limited time thing.
Yeah. It's a cycle. It's
imagine,
cycle to somebody else's.
imagine if fucking Mitch wakes up and he's like 47 years old and people are still showing his asshole. That's unreasonable.
That's unreasonable. Around
that's wrong.
That's got to come back around and be funny.
Dude, as long as Mitch is in comedy, this is gonna be around forever.
If in 20 years,
yeah,
I'm just having a nice Sunday,
yeah,
and I
like
text,
an ice cream sundae with chocolate.
Yes, I'm having whatever.
Yeah.
It's Sunday. I'm eating a sundae.
Yeah,
I'm sitting around and I text you or something, and I'm like, oh man, this is making me feel sick. and then you text me, this makes me feel like this, and then send me that picture 20 years from now,
Yeah.
I will laugh.
Yeah.
I'll laugh.
There's no...
Like, you send me that as a meme in 20 years related to something we're talking about,
Yeah.
I'll laugh.
And also, Mitch, fuck your girlfriend, because sincerely, she's the one that took the picture. So she helped you with create what this thing is, and now she's going around, well, anybody who keeps sharing it is a fucking fag. You're the one who took it in the first place.
No, you know what? I will defend her. He's giving her that energy. It's your girl's job to go, hey, I got your back. I don't like these guys
Right,
either.
so she's just defending him.
Yeah.
All
So
right,
he's
that's
giving
fine.
her that energy of like...
I get that, but at the same time, shut up. At the same time, guess what? You took the picture. You helped produce this fucking this horror movie.
I don't understand the... Okay, he sent it to Josh, right? Let's say he didn't. What was the purpose of... was it to make each other laugh?
I don't know. To me, I'm like, that's irrelevant in my mind.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, you still sent it. If I got Becca to take a picture of my fucking asshole... if that
It's
is
never
like,
gonna happen.
but if I got her to do that,
Yeah.
and then it circulates, and then Becca goes around going like, "Oh, whoever's like still sharing this, you're a fucking loser." It's like, Becca, you helped produce the picture.
Yeah.
Shut up. You know what I mean? Just stop. And especially with a circle of like comics, asshole comedians. Like think about what our group is looked at as. In the community of comedy, we're looked at as like those fucking right-wing, fucking racist, sexist, evil assholes. And
Accurately.
you don't expect like us to fuck with each other, especially if we get a little bit of information or a little bit of something like that. Like, come on, that's being unreasonable. That's being unfair.
I just...
You're not being realistic.
I just look at it as like you can only... Sometimes it sucks, but you can only be mad at yourself. Like,
Yeah.
For example, the other day, I decided to smoke a tiny one of those little cigars in my car because I was stuck in traffic, and I was bored, and I was looking for something to do. I found the cigars in my car. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna light one up. I lit it up,
Cigar,
and it was like, I don't know, it was giving me a little trouble or whatever. And then all of a sudden the traffic moved, and I kind of panicked. So I pressed on the gas, and then I used one hand to grab the wheel, and then I went to go put my other hand out of the window. But it was too much panic that I pressed the cigar against the top of my, like, I guess it's my hood or whatever,
so
and it's fabric. Mark? It burned a hole into my fabric, and then I looked down. I'm like, oh fuck, right? So mad. The burn mark is in there now. And I just knew. I remember my panic was, I know when my brother or my dad borrows my car, drives it, or even if someone is sitting there and they're going to ask, what's that? I know myself. I have anger problems sometimes. I'm going to get mad at them asking me about the burn mark.
Right.
Again, a circle similar to Mitchell's asshole. Right?
But and that image is burnt into all of our psyches.
But to bring this long story all together, what I'm saying is I will be mad at people when they ask me about it. But really, I can only blame myself for panicking and burning my car.
Right.
He can be mad at because people are showing it, but in the end, you can only be mad at yourself. You took the picture. You thought it would be a good idea to send to your friends. I feel bad for him now because you know what? Mitch is a good guy. He's my friend. I hope people stop spreading it around because it annoys him. Having that said, you can only be mad at yourself.
You hope they stop spreading around his spread.
Yeah.
And with that, I think we got the episode.
Wait, what did we say? Just so I remember, what did we say we were going to call it?
I forgot.
Oh, I'll just listen to it.
I forgot.
All right.
All right. Thanks for listening, guys. Take care.